Hey guys, welcome into the show. I'm PaintWithJosh. Nice to see you today. We're going to be doing a 16 by 20 inch white canvas cattail seascape. It's going to be awesome. We're going to first take our BobRoss liquid white, obviously, dip in a little bit, usually about like not even a quarter inch, like an eighth of an inch, maybe. You can always go back and add more, right? I don't know why I'm sitting here holding this jar. We probably won't need more than that because you want it spread very, very, very thin, right? So you guys check in out there. Let us know where you're watching from in the night. Just wherever you are in the world, let us know right now. Right now. I can't see anything over there. I'm going to try to check the comments. We got to give them a few seconds to roll in, but looking wicked cool. Okay, so you guys check in. Let us know where you're watching from. Let me know if this is your very first time watching a Paint with Josh show, or if it's your 1 billionth time watching a Paint with Josh show. We're actually like on a streak. How many weeks, London? 175 weeks we've been going live without a single week break. 100. Can someone do the math on that? Like out there in the comments, you guys do the math and then tell us in the comments how many years is 175 weeks? Because that's how many weeks we've been going without a vacation. That's depressing. That is very depressing, you guys. Woo. Okay, so what do we got? People watching from Ohio. First time. I like it. Excellent. We got people watching from California. St. Charles, Missouri, I think I saw over there. Let's see, Northern Ireland I saw. Boom, boom, boom. Is that 3.36 years? Is that how long it is? Watching from Georgia. Let's see. Need something different? Oh, you never know, Greg. We're going to be doing one of my most popular scenes, and it's only because so many people like this scene, and there's so many different ways to do it. I actually booked a 4-person class on Valentine's Day, and we're going to paint this same scene. And it always changes, you know what I mean? It's never exactly the same. So I'm going to do a cool little seascape for you today. If you want to see something different, Greg, you can check out the tutorial yesterday where we painted acrylic flowers for the very first time and then colored them over with oil. And it came out really cool. I did that earlier today as well. I'll show you the guys those flowers a little bit later on. But did more of them, had stems and all sorts of different stuff in there. It looks kind of cool. So we're going to take our ultramarine blue, and let me tell you the colors we're going to use. So we're going to use today our dioxazine purple, Van Dyke brown, yellow ochre, sap green, ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, ivory black, titanium white. Okay, we're going to come down here and start to drop on that blue. And because our canvas is wet, right? You want it to be not goopy, not sloppy, not slippery wet, right? Very thinly spread wet, which means that when you touch it, you should be able to see all those ridges in your fingerprint still. If you go to touch it and all you can see is white and you can't see anything else, then you've put on too much paint, right? And all you have to do to correct that is wipe it off with a paper towel and then kind of spread out that white paint with no excess on your brush. You know what I mean? Give it a little wipe like we do when we're doing our black canvases. Very cool, you guys. Now, I always like a sky with a little bit of feel to it. And so I'm going to take a little bit of my black, just a little touch. Remember, if you put on too much of that black, it's really going to be really dark, okay? And all we're really doing is blocking in color right now. We're not blending it. It's not going to stay looking like that. You know what I mean? What we do need to do is block in our color and then wash our brush, because you cannot blend out a sky with a dirty brush, right? So I know a lot of people only have one brush per, or one of each. I have 4 or 5 or 10 of each different brush that we use here on my table. But that doesn't mean that I'll use all those brushes. I like to show you guys just how fast we can do it, or just how long it would take if you only had one of each brush, which is what a lot of people have. Now remember, whole canvas is wet. It's going to stay wet the entire time that we paint. Now, where would you start blending if we wanted to blend out our sky? Can you guys tell me where you might start? Would you start in the darkest area and try to blend that out and then go back into the light? Would you start in the lightest area and try to work your way to a darker thing? What do you think? Let me know in the comments, because I forget how to paint sometimes, right? You guys have to tell me and remind me. I'm like, oh, got it. That's what it was. Light to dark, exactly, right? We start into our light spot and we start getting some of that liquid white paint that's already there. Remember, it's still wet. right? So we're getting some of that paint back onto our brush, and then we're going to start getting out into our blue. And as we go out and drag back in, it takes some of that blue paint and brings it way over here. You know what I mean? The more of that paint that covers over this light area, the more it's going to change color, right? It's not going to stay bright white forever. We can't have it stay bright white. Otherwise, our white clouds wouldn't stand out against all that bright whiteness, right? So I've kind of made a circle around my white, going out into my blue and then down into my black. So I'm going to go back up here into this corner, grip it and blend it. Don't just let it sit up there, right? Don't leave straight lines like that either. Push it. If you want it to blend and be nice and soft, then you've got to really be pushing hard on this paint. And that way you're allowing it to mix in with all that liquid white base coat, right? The liquid white is allowing all this black and blue to blend and become different colors. You know what I mean? If it wasn't there, or if you were just using clear on a white canvas, you would see very deep, dark, bluish, blackish tones in there because there's no white continually mixing it, right? Which is what this liquid white is doing. Once you blend out your sky, leave a little bit of darkness, right? A little darker here, a little kind of faded, and we have that brighter area. Now, why is the area brighter? I haven't added any white to that spot yet, right? The area is brighter because we left it, right? We didn't cover that spot with paint. We put it here and here and here, right? So when you blend it, it becomes a lighter area, and then you can take your white and have nice white puffy clouds. And the only reason we go over that so much is because I've got the question all the time, like, how do you keep your clouds so white? Like when I push up there, it starts turning blue instantly. Well, you probably didn't leave an area of less thick paint, right? You just probably blasted it all up there and it's all the same amount, it's all the same blue, and it's all really heavy. And that way it's taking all of our white and making it blend instantly, right? But you only put a little bit up there. You can have your white stay nice and bright white. So just imagine like you're stirring up your chocolate milk, just using the corners of the brush, right? Not the whole brush. Otherwise I would be making circles like this, right? We're not doing that. You can clearly see we're using just the corner, just the top. Sometimes just kind of flicking it and just getting it to mess up just a little bit. That's all you need to do. Mess it up a touch, right? The harder you push along the bottom, the more it's going to blend away. Now, I want to have a high horizon in this guy. So we're going to load up on our blue, a little bit of black, right? A little bit of our purple as well. There we go. There you go, right? Doesn't need to be perfect. Doesn't need to be anything except for dark, right? What we're going to try to do is paint the hardest thing known to mankind's existence. I need to blend this down just a touch more. And so I had to grab a new brush now that my brush is all loaded with color. There, right? Hardest thing known to mankind, paint a straight line right here, live in front of everybody, right? So back and forth with that very dark color, and that becomes our deep, dark backwaterous area. Ooh, that's nice. Is that actually level on the first go? I don't believe it, because I can never paint a level straight horizon back there, right? But you guys let me know in the comments, is this level right now? Tell me, because I can't see. I'm over here to the side. So you got to let me know if it's level or not. And I don't think that one is. I'm going to switch back to that dry brush that had the sky, well, no paint on it, basically. Just mix it and mix it and mix it. Yeah, gorgeous. Gorgeous. Yes, look at it. Okay, it's still down on the right a little bit. It's just every time that we go to paint, we just slip down to the right for some reason. I don't know why. So a little bit more black and blue and purple, right? And we want to make smaller strokes from the side on this side so that we can have a crashing wave out here, right? Now, the bigger our dark area is, the bigger our crashing wave will be. The bigger our wave is, the closer it's going to become, right? So we don't want to have too big of a dark space, and we don't want our wave to get too close if we want to keep our cattail bushes in the mix, right? If we don't care about the bushes, then we don't have to stop at all. We could let this whole thing come down here, right? It's all up to us as we're painting it, okay? Because I dropped off all that thick, dark paint and then didn't add any more to my brush, and I started mixing back and forth with that liquid white, it becomes lighter and lighter and lighter as more paint is falling off the brush and being replaced with the liquid white. And it's also mixing and mixing and mixing and mixing, right? The harder I push on it, the more it mixes with that liquid white. So you decide how much of a wet, shiny area you would like to have, okay? Knowing that our wave must fit into this dark space. We can't have it grow down, so you better make sure that your triangle is big enough, okay? Because if it's not, you're gonna run out of space very quickly, right? Now, I do have another version of this painting available because I just taught it in a class, and that class painting I believe is $189 and this one's $239. So if you want a very similar painting for a lot less, then head over there and check out the site, right? It's right literally below the very first thing. This is the very first thing you're going to see. It's the only painting that doesn't have a photo attached to it, so we use a thumbnail for it. Any other painting is available for you to have, and you can grab it and nab it up, right? But you got to be the first one there because there's only one. So now that one as well, it has smaller waves. You know what? I keep talking about it. It's literally right here. This is similar to what our painting is going to look like today. This one has a lower horizon, right? You can see the difference in the horizon, and this one's got a little bit more sky. So we went with less detailed waves. If we're using less sky and more land, then we can have a bigger, more detailed crashing wave, right? So it's all up to us and all about where you're putting your horizon, right? Now, before we continue, is that level? Seriously, London, is that level? Can you see it in the back? Okay, perfect. I think it's pretty level. Okay. Okay, sweet. So now what we're going to do is take our titanium white, right? We're going to flatten it down like we're just trying to lay a road, like a steamroller, just really flatten it down. Then we're going to scrape up a little bit of it, right? Kind of removing it from the palette, attaching it to our tool in this way. Okay, now let me show you both ways. A right-handed person is going to be holding it like this with the long side of the blade on the left. You got your point, and then you got the sharp, your short side, and then this, we don't use this long side, where we're talking about these guys. When we go to load the paint, we're going to turn it, right? Scrape up the paint that way so that it is on the bottom, right? That way we can turn it again and use it. If you're a left-handed person, okay, you're going, it's going to be harder to do. You're going to be, hang on, there we go, I got it. Just try not to get black on my sweater. You're going to be holding it like this, right, with the long side of the blade on the left and the point, on the right, and the short side on the left of the point, right? Then you're going to turn it upside down again and go whoosh, loading it onto the bottom so you can turn it this way and rock it back and forth, right? All depends on you. Try to show you both ways. There we go. This big old guy over here. So now if we're going to paint a wave, which way do you guys think the wave is going to be crashing just based off how we've set the shadows right now? Which do you think the wave's crashing to the left this way? Or do you think the wave's crashing to the right that way? Type it in the comments now. Type it in now. Look at those clouds out there just floating around having a good old time. Oh, that is fantastic. I mean, if we had more sky, we could layer in more clouds and stuff, but for a little old sky, I like that guy. Right, so what do you guys think? We got left, right, left, 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 exactly, right? The left side is going to be crashing, hiding all the things behind it. The right side is going to be the side that's rolling up, so we have more room for more details over here, okay? So let's take our very small little roll, start about halfway across our canvas, right on the horizon, and start scraping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And every so often, you take a little step down, little step, little step, little step, little step down, right? You have to continually push on that blade and have enough paint on it, right? That doesn't mean overload it and have a huge chunk. That's not going to help you, okay? You're finding the right amount of paint to put down and then scrape back and forth, right? Leaving little details towards the back of that horizon, right? Our back horizon should be dark. You don't see the waves crashing way back there, and the only reason that there is any foam and stuff that's floating on top of our water is that the waves are rolling, and as they roll, they deposit this foam off the back. I'm telling you, I've spent countless, like, ask my daughter how long Dad stands and looks at the ocean when we go to the coast, right? She doesn't even get out of the car anymore. She just sits in the car because she knows it's going to take me forever, right? Because I'm just sitting there staring at it intently, trying to snapshot it in my brain and look at how everything is moving. That's why we're the king of seascapes, right? So once we get our little line, which is only, it started at our horizon and only really gotten about 1 finger worth from our horizon line, right? We know we don't need it to be all the same amount of bright. We don't need anything to be the same amount of anything. Nothing has to be quote unquote perfect, okay? So now what we're gonna do is, do we have enough? Oh, we got enough room. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. If our backwater is halfway in the middle of our canvas, okay, we're going to look, get about half, find the halfway mark in between the point and the edge, touch there, right, and then create another little lip, very small. Do not try to make it big, okay? Please. We're gonna end up, you can end up connecting these ones if you need to, but we're gonna try not to, okay? So we're gonna get a little bit more of our paint, we're gonna scrape it and scrape it and scrape it. We're not taking it from the lip and scraping it vertically, right? We're taking our blade, which is very flat right here, like a table. It's not tilted this way, it's not tilted this way. It's very flat, right? And so we're making very flat little directional swipes, right? Just very flat, off to the side, off to the side. Now, if you don't leave a space in between those two bits of water, they become the same bit of water, okay? Which you might end up liking, right? But if you can leave the smallest little amount of gap in there, it's going to look like that teeny tiny shadow that is right underneath that lip of water, right? You can't have light everywhere. You always have to break it up a little bit. So now that we've got our lip, okay, why don't we take, we missed our first commercial break, so why don't we take our very first commercial break, you guys? And I want you to hang out here for like 30 seconds, and I'll be right back after these words. Have you watched like 1,000 Paint with Josh videos and you just can't seem to get it right? Let's do a virtual class where I can show you how to use the brush, show you how to contact the canvas, pick up the camera, and show you angles you've never seen before in a Paint with Josh video. So check out the site, scroll down a little bit, see the calendar, book your day and your time, pick a virtual class, and then we'll meet up via video call. I'll email you and everything's gonna be fantastic. So let's get back to the show and see what we've been up to while we've been gone. I see it's Michael's birthday. Happy birthday, Michael. He was saying that in the comments over on TikTok, right? Was it TikTok? Yeah. Yeah, over on the TikTok. So happy birthday, Michael. Now that we've got our lip of our, this is the wave that's crashing, right? And if you really look, let's say we break it up into sections, right? If we have our top section in 2 fingers worth, then our middle section, 2 fingers worth, and then the bottom, right? We still have enough of that dark paint. Right? And we're splitting these things into thirds, okay? So the top water is taking up our first third. Then we've got the eye of the wave, which is going to literally be right underneath that bit of water. And it can be very flat. Remember, these waves are not very close. If we want to have any amount of like grassy bushes and stuff that are growing up from down here, we cannot make this too big, okay? Now, let's go back to that line that we had painted right here, right? So as we were coming up this way, we know that we're eventually going to crisscross our backwater line right there, right? It has to, based off this angle. They're not the same water, right? We're coming up, we're going to crisscross. You don't have to paint that part, okay? What we're going to do is, I've got a little bit of roll here, but I'm not touching the canvas, right? We're going to follow along. We're going to decide where we're going to go up and roll over. And so you're basically measuring from the corner at that same steeper angle, right? Turning it and then touching right there, and then touching, and then touching, and touching, right? The more times you tap at it, the more of the paint roll is going to come off, right? So if we tap at this guy and we make him like a little U shape, being very close to that back line. You see how there's only a tiny little separation back there? That's what you want to have. Now remember, we're 2 fingers away from the eye of the wave. 1 finger basically away from the tip of the point of the water, which is right there, which basically sticks out further than our eye of our wave, right? So you can't get lost if we're measuring stuff, okay? So now with our empty blade, we're going to attach onto the paint that's already there and turn our steering wheel, right? We're not going to pull it down. We're not going to just drag it straight, right? We're going to cast it, throw it like a bucket of water. You can throw a bucket of water, it doesn't just come to the edge and then go straight down, right? It launches out, it has trajectory. Okay, so we're going to change the trajectory, the successionary. We're going to change the trajectory multiple times, right? The first one is right down here. Right? So just aim right down there. Your next one's a little bit to the left. Next one's a little bit to the left, a little bit to the left, a little bit to, until we're basically straight off to the side, right? Of course, I'm over-exaggerating for you, but as we get up here, very lightly touch and turn our wheel, right? It's basically pivoting over my thumb. I'm kind of pushing on my index finger. My middle finger and my thumb are not moving, right? I'm pushing on the index finger to roll it over, roll it over, roll it over. Now, I'm going to have to start to change where my handle of the brush, the blade is, so that I don't keep pulling it down to the same spot, right? Again, all we're doing is pushing it, push it, push it, right? Literally, that's all we're doing. Push, push, push. Change the angle of my handle so it's a little bit lower. Push again with my index finger. And if you guys, I mean, look at that. I've never done that before, just literally pushing with my index finger and letting it pivot. So if I can do it, guys, you can do it too, right? Literally, change the angle though. So this one's coming down, then it's going a little bit further, 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 and then by the time you get out to the side, all of these, if not 98% of this, will be covered by our splash, but it will at least show the water traveling in that direction, right? All this stuff underneath, we don't have to worry about. It's all gonna turn into splashy stuff anyway, okay? Which is exactly what we're about to do here. So does that make sense to anybody though? Where you can literally, if you're just holding it like this and then just pushing down on your index finger, right? Just to change it and have it pivot, that's all we're doing. Pushing down on the index finger, just like that. Right? Does that make sense to everybody? Because that was probably the most broken down way that we've ever done it before, right? Normally it's just kind of holding it and, I mean, you're kind of turning and you're turning the brush at the same time, but you're not doing these huge movements. It's just little things, right? So what we've done is taken our liquid white, which is the base coat for base coat for the canvas, and we've mixed that with our titanium white in about a 50-50 mix. So there's a little bit of texture there, but it's also pretty wet because we're using that wet base coat, okay? And remember, none of this stuff makes a difference, and if you push on it hard enough, blend it away. You know what I mean? So the reason that we have that 2-finger distance right here is because we're about to cover one finger and leave another. We're trying to stay far enough away from the eye that these two paints don't touch. And remember, this one is very wet. So we're going to stay along the top of the line, right? I do not want this white to touch the eye, okay? So I have to sit on top of it and pop a little thing, little pop, a little bit more, until boom, I'm over my horizon, right? And not necessarily the back horizon, just over the second lip right there. Then I can immediately drop down with the same corner, just tapping it in. Tap it, tap it, tap it, tap it, move, tap, 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 right? We're making like a little smiley face. And if I don't move my handle of my brush, then it's gonna look just like this, okay? It's not what I want it to look like. I want this water over here to extend out, right? Smacking into it by changing the trajectory of the handle. So the handle's no longer in the same spot, right? If I do it again, maybe if my handle's down here, it'll leave a different shape. What's it gonna look like when you do it, right? Because, turn it again, smack it, pop a couple little bits over here, and remember that all of this paint is going to grow. So if you put it on too heavily, right, and see that spot right there? See how I tried to hit it 3 times and it still didn't want to take the paint? Don't force it, because you're just gonna make it too much of a mess, right? If the canvas doesn't want it there, doesn't want it there. It doesn't have to be everywhere. And as you can see, we've covered up about 1 finger, leaving about 1 finger's worth of space in between. And this is why. Because this paint right here is going to grow so fast. It's already very wet, right? So if I get up here and think about it like you're mixing up chocolate milk, okay? Think about it like a carnival game, okay? We're at the carnival. The point of the game is to stir up your chocolate milk without spilling any milk, right? And it's a very full glass, so you got to stir it very gently, right? Except the game is that the cup is moving. And so you've got to very lightly stir and move your brush around in a figure 8 or a different circle or whatever, so that you don't stay in the same place for too long, right? So, and again, if I touch it with too many bristles or too much pressure, again, I just tried to swipe it 2-3 times and I didn't even touch it. That's how soft you want to touch it, because it will grow, man. It's going to grow so far. So again, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Get out of there. Don't ever stay. Never stay. It's like going to, Thanksgiving dinner with family that you hate. Like, just, you don't want to stay there for too long. You got to get out of there. Otherwise, you're going to go crazy, right? So mix it and move. Do not stay in the same place, right? That way it looks more natural. It looks more odd. It looks more weird and crazy, like the water is supposed to, right? Now, what we're going to do is come back to that 50-50 pile that we were just using to make all of our splash, but we're going to use our palette tool on this guy, okay? If this angle is on a downward slope and not straight, you see how the back one's very straight. I mean, it's still on a downward slope, but it's very straight compared to this guy who's a little angled upwards, right? If it's not going down far enough, then your wave's not going to tell you where to put the next line, okay? If you've got this slightly down, maybe 15-degree angle, and you were to put a straight line right in between the edge of it, through the eye, through the wave, right? It's telling us that right here is the next place that we should put our paint, because it's literally a straight line right through the thing, boop, to the corner. See what I mean? It's telling you. It's like, hey, start right here, right? And then start cutting that back again. And I go, okay, I'll do that. And so I'll start cutting it back and cutting it back and cutting it back, making these very parallel to start, right? You have to. That is not the front of the wave. I understand that the wave does not just come at a tsunami wall like that, okay? But what we're going to do is, with a little bit more paint, get underneath it, push that extending line or extending lip, just pushing it down and down and down, giving us more room in between the front of the water and the actual crashing part of the wave, okay? Again, even this guy, we're starting up higher and we're cutting it in, down a little bit lower and lower and lower, right? The more we do, the further it pushes back that wave and leaves us with more cool stuff up here in the front, right? Now, since we've extended this one down, we have to continue along, and it doesn't have to be perfect, right? We need all this stuff in the back. We have to have it, and we cannot come outside of our original blue, dark blue triangle. And as you can see, we're right on the edge. You can still see a little bit of dark blue underneath that guy, and then you got your lighter gray right here. We can't come out any further than that without using a ton of paint in order for it to cast its own shadow, right? Otherwise, you got to go back and put it in. Now we got this mess back here, okay? This is exactly what I want to have, because we're painting, right? We've already painted the water. The water's there. It's right here. It's all this water, right? What we're painting now is that stuff that's floating on top of it or reflecting the sky above, you know what I mean? And that stuff is not perfect. It's not branches. It doesn't look like tree roots that, like, it's not really circular. I mean, you know, it's a patch of gunk, okay? It's a patch of like foam, super thick fish pish that's just sitting on top of the water. So I'm going to switch back to my super thick titanium white with no liquid white, because there's already liquid white here, okay? Now, the titanium white is going to want to stick to the canvas more, right? Because it's a thicker paint, and our canvas is not dry, but it's not as wet as this area, right? And what we need to do is work on those curls, those angles of our curl, correct? We cannot just go at the same angle throughout the whole thing. It's going to look like a ramp that Tony Hawk's going to jump off, right? So what we're going to do is work between noon and 3 o'clock, okay? Noon and 3 o'clock over here. The further over you are to this side, the more towards 3 o'clock we are dragging, right? Boom, boom. Each time we're taking a step up. So we're starting down here, then we take a step up, then we take a step up and to the left, 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 and you continue doing that, right? The more that you come in here, the more you can start to then lift off, right? But think about it like being on an airplane, right? We're not just on an airplane and then instantly we're in the air, right? We're running down the runway, picking up speed, and then banking, right? You cannot bank severely out here. They have to be flat and then getting more and more and more and more severely rotated as they come in, right? So again, each step we're stepping up and we're going out. And as we get back here, once we start getting under our eye, basically, right? We're under our eye, that's when we can start that rotation, very flat rotation up, okay? The more that you go and just go vertical, the less it's going to look real, okay? The more that you do go vertical, the more you have to start from back here. This is why it makes it look correct, because you're taking off from the runway down here, you're getting in, and then you're really whipping it up, right? But we're not just doing that from this front lip and changing that angle. That's not going to make it look correct, right? You have to flow with the water. Flow in, rotate, rotate, rotate severely when you're in here, right? Just off the front edge of your little blade. Now remember, you can have crazy little patches. It doesn't have to be just a streak, right? You can mush on some weird little thing. Curve those guys up a little bit, change it a little, right? Right there, it's very vertical. It's like rolling up, right? Out here, it gets much flatter. You have to allow it to get flatter and almost come up here and touch our wave right there, right? And in the right circumstances, if you had a little lip right there and you just very clean blade, grab that guy, and, oh, right there, that's it. See, they've connected, right? The more that we let them connect, oh, look at that. I mean, guys, this one is available, by the way. This is what we do. We paint paintings live. We sell them. We teach you how to do them live right here on the air, right? So, goodness, that is a painting. Now, we're going to come in here, get a little touch of our liquid white, and we're going to take a little commercial break. So you guys hang out for like 30 seconds. It's just a commercial of me, right? It's not like Nationwide. I mean, maybe one day, but I don't know why Nationwide always comes to my brain anyway. Hey, Nationwide, talking about you guys. But yeah, hang out through this 30-second commercial. I'm going to take a quick drink and wet my whistler, and we'll be right back after these words. Guys, it's PaintWithJosh back in the studio with you today, taking a break from editing to talk about our Glitterwix candles. Absolutely fantastic, super unique jars, more than 65 different scents that you can find if you head over to their site. Check it out, get your favorite, let us know which one you got when you come back, and let's pop over to the show and see what we've been missing while we've been gone. Hey guys, what do you think of that cool little commercial, right? Let them put a lot of work into those commercials. I put the video, I put the work into making the video, like standing in front of it and saying the thing, and let them put all the cool stuff on it. So we're going to take our liquid white and titanium white mix, same mix, about 50-50 or about 60-40 titanium white. We're going to come right underneath this guy and deposit some of that paint, just kind of scraping it in. So I'm not depositing my whole roll of it, even though it's a very small roll. We're not depositing the whole roll of it in the same spot. We're trying to get that thing to spread out because this paint is very wet, right? But this is what's going to give us that shiny look to our wet, sandy area. It makes it very glossy looking. And it's in a couple, it's 2 or 3 steps to make it do this, right? And this is what I usually go viral on, is when we're doing videos like this and showing you guys how to make a sandy, shiny effect. Right? And people go, no, that looks like a waterfall. And then they look and they go, oh yeah, okay, it looks like sand. Right? So we're a little bit heavier on our liquid white, titanium white down here, right? And again, it doesn't even have to be the same. Literally, it doesn't even have to be the same. Because as we start brushing it in, we're going to pick up paint from here and move it over here. And then as we go back, we're going to be blending it out as we go, right? So I want to ask you guys a question just real quickly and comment now. Does this look like that wet, sandy, beachy area? And be honest, right? Be honest with me. Does it look like wet, sandy beach, right? I'm not even going to give you a chance to answer because I know a lot of you are going to say, of course not, right? But what if we do this, okay? What if we come in here with a very vertical brush, right? Handle down, not out here pointing towards the middle of the room, down here towards the floor, very vertical, sort of enough pressure to get it to drag down. Now, does this look like wet, sandy beach? Just, I mean, now, yes or no in the comments. What do you think it looks like, right? If it doesn't look like sand, tell me what you think. And I'm going to sit here for all 900 of you watching over there on TikTok, and let's see. We got no, right? We got no again. Okay, I feel it. I feel it. Not yet over there on Facebook. I like that. Right? What do you think? What do you think? Is that Wendy over there on YouTube? Is that awesome? Thank you. Appreciate it. Looks like ice. I like that. That's cool, right? Looks like I usually get the ice wall from like Game of Thrones, like those very tall pillars. Or someone said when we did it in gold one time that it looked like Asgard, which was really cool. But a lot of times we get the waterfall, right? A lot of you guys are commenting the word waterfall. So what if we took all of those wet, streaky verticalities, pulled them away from the wave, turning them into horizontalities, and do you now see that wet, shiny-ish area back there that's just supremely wet? We'll make it stand out a little bit more when we put in our brown sand. We need a very small amount of our Van Dyke brown, right? We're going to start dragging it in from here. Now, the Van Dyke brown is a very dark color, okay? So if you grab a lot of it on the brush, it's going to be very dark, right? If you grab a lot and you push very hard onto this canvas, it's going to drop off a whole lot of it, okay? So you have to be the judge about how much paint you're putting on there. How dark do you want it to be? And remember, if you leave a little space of that liquid white right there, right, and then we continue blending this back and forth and allow that liquid white to make this dark brown color brighter, right, then we can get all sorts of differences in our sand. We're just very horizontally in our land, right? You don't want to, kind of don't want to crisscross in your land. You want to push on it with enough force. Sometimes turn the brush sideways so you can use all those bristles back and forth, right? Push it and allow it to blend up towards that bluey bit. And wherever your sand stops and you retain that blue shininess is where your wet sandy area is. You see that right there? Oof! Isn't that gorgeous? Woo! My lord. Man, okay. So remember, you guys, if you purchase this one live during the show, you get a free gift off the Spinny Winnie wheel. You activate the light party for everyone else so we can see what this is going to look like when it gets all trippily colored, right? And you get to title the painting, so whatever you think it should be called. We had a guy call it Tim one time because he was going to give it to his dad, right? So, yeah, Lena just said Bob. So we'll take our last bit of our kind of liquid white, titanium white mix and just basically make it messy, right? It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be connected. It can be broken like that, right? And just have a little bit of that edge out there. Right? If we're going down at an angle as we go, right? And that doesn't mean doing, changing the angle of our blade or anything, but starting from a higher point, making little Z shapes. So we're going out and back and out and back and out and back and out and back and out and back, all the way down. Then we should be able to pull off just very flat, very straight bits of this edge of our lip and just pull them backwards a little bit, right? And it just like that, it kind of transitions everything from this little lip or all these little bubbles, right? Some of the times it's not a lip of water. It's a bit of bubbles or, that yellowy, like it looks like fish pee, right? But that yellowy junk that's out there that gets deposited as the water recedes backwards in this backwash area, right? I heard that from a surfer one time. I was doing a virtual class with this guy who bodyboards and stuff. So I guess not a surfer, but a bodyboarder. I'm sure there's a wild difference, you know what I mean? Like surfers don't want to be called bodyboarders and bodyboarders don't want to be called surfers, I'm sure, right? But he was telling me, he's like, oh yeah, that's the backwash. And I'm like, that makes perfect sense. I've just never thought to call it that before. So yeah, we call it the backwash area. It goes, and then it washes back to the sea. Now, the only thing that's a little odd about the painting still is this gap that's in between our water and our land, right? It needs to be there, but it doesn't need to be so big. And so what we're going to do is take our very wet, liquidy white and titanium white mixed paint, the same 50-50 mix we've been working with. We're going to attach on to the paint that's there and just scrape it down a little lower, a little lower, a little lower, leaving that little dark separation. Because remember, this color and this color are very similar. And so if we don't have a gap, something breaking it up in there and going, hey, these are different things, right? Then our brain's going to freak out. And it's going to go, I don't know what that is. I don't like it. I don't, you know what I mean? So don't lose the dark separation. Now, let's say you decided, oh no, I came across, I just did it purposely for you, right? Came across my dark separation and out onto the, and this is exactly what I mean. You can no longer really tell where the land is and where the water is, right? So don't lose that dark separation in your water, right? If you do happen to lose it, that's okay. It's going to happen. You're going to lose it at some point, right? We all do. So our brains, we lose our minds, our dark separators, right? Oh, that's fabulous, right? But as long as you keep a few indications throughout the wave that there should be a shadow there, then our brain will be, okay, all right, I see it. I see what you mean. I got you now. I'm following, right? So, and remember, it's not just you. You got other people that are looking at your painting. Not necessarily saying that to me, to be like, oh, everyone else is going to be judging you. but everyone is going to see something different, right? So you might see something and go, oh, that's like the coolest thing I've ever done. And then someone else is going to see, you know, like a face in your wave. Or you might think of it like, oh, this is the worst painting I've ever done. I can't believe. And then somebody might like it enough to buy it, right? That's how it always happens, especially in the beginning. That's how it happened for me. I would paint like the best painting I'd ever done, and nobody would want it. And yet paintings that I thought were like subpar, people were purchasing. And I was like, I don't understand this. What? Man, that's cool. Okay, so we're gonna, you know what? I'm gonna ask you guys, should we add the bushes? Because I always do this, and the wave starts coming out too good to want to add anything else. So you guys let me know. We're gonna put in our spray bits. We're gonna make the sand, that famous Paint with Josh sand that we all love, right? But should we add those bushes, or should we keep them out and just focus on the wave in the background and all this gorgeous sand up here in the foreground? Goodness gracious, you guys. I like it. There, there we go. A little bit darker into lighter, right? And all it is that little touch of our kind of bluey water in there, mix in with that brown, and then you over mix it until it almost blends away. Yes. Cool. At a beach chair, unfortunately. So, I mean, sure, I used to say I don't do stuff like that, right? But in this instance, I would think the horizon would have to be down here, because your beach chair does have to sit above, right? Otherwise, the beach, just one slat of the beach chair is going to be this big, and then the next, and then maybe have like an arm, and it would take up the whole painting because of how close we are. Yeah, well, look, we'll just do it like that Meeden pin that we have. Like, I'll just add an art easel out here, like we're going to do some plein air painting, and it'll just be that big. This little Meeden easel. It's like a magnetic pin. Which I still maintain. I do not think it's a needle minder like that girl on TikTok had said. No, it's a magnetic pin. It's a pin so you don't have to, you know, damage your clothing. That's how smart they are over there, right? We're like, oh, let's just jam this piece of metal through our clothes and leave some holes. Yeah, it's like, whoops. That's funny. He was like, no, I was for a beach chair ever again. That's cool. Let's see. Yeah, when we put in, all right, you know what? Let's pop in the sand, just so I can show you guys what the sand is going to look like. We'll pop in the sand, we'll do the spray of the wave, and then we'll make a decision. And like I said, normally when they start coming out like this, and they look so good already, I just don't even want to put the wave in there, the bush in there. So I'm going to take my odorless mineral spirits and my ivory black, very small amount of both. You don't need a whole lot. And if you do have too much odorless mineral spirits, it will spackle out in huge globs, okay? You don't want that. Now, what you do want to do is test it somewhere that's not your painting, right? We're basically dragging the brush through, the palette tool doesn't move. It's the brush that moves. And as we drag the brush through it, it bends those bristles back and launches them at the canvas, okay? We obviously don't want to be too close. So we step back about 6 to 8 inches and you start speckling in little bits, right? Remembering that we don't need to cover the whole sandy area. We don't have to do anything. And we're going to have another color as well, okay? 2 more colors, in fact. So we're going to take our corner of our brush again, dip it into the odorless mineral spirits, back into our Van Dyke brown now, right? First we go black, then we go Van Dyke brown, okay? So we tap on the Van Dyke brown. Very wet, very shiny. It's very watery, like watercolor, I would imagine. Wipe off our brush on paper towel, do a little test flick, back up, and then start launching in little bits of sand, right? If they end up being bigger, they end up looking like little pebbles. Hello! Little pebbles and seashells and different stuff out there. So let's see what just went, guys. Hey, that's awesome. I mean, I'm sure this would be her 3rd order, so I'm not sure if she has her name as her screen name or not, but Pam, thank you for your order. Oh, cool. Well, awesome. Pam, you're awesome. Right? So this is the final step. This is just pure liquid white, right? It's about the only time we ever use pure liquid white by itself. And again, we back up and we start sprinkling. Now, if I have too much liquid white and I sprinkle too hard, it's going to throw big globs out there. Okay, so we get to decide. The more little white specks that we pop into that sandy area, Doesn't that look just, oh my goodness, like just crushed seashells and all the little shimmering bits that are out there, right? Bing, bang, boom. Dudes, that is cool. I like that. So we're going to do the same exact thing in our water, right? Again, tapping in a very small amount onto the edge of my fan brush. Tapping it multiple times to spread it out very thin across the edge of the palette tool. You don't want to have any texture. You don't want to have any big bits or big droplets or anything on there. You want it to be very flat. Again, wipe off our brush so it's nice and clean. Come up here. This, you have the potential to hit the canvas here, okay? So try to stay very vertical and flick off a couple little bits. That's all you need right there. Then we're going to turn it and start throwing it back towards my face over here. So if you ever see me after the show, we're always covered in paint, right? But we're doing it like, I used to do it like this. I used to just throw it at the canvas this way. But if you turn it, right, and start launching it in the direction that the water is flowing, anyway, it's going to look like they're being thrown that way, right? They'll go up into your sky. They'll go down into your watery retraction area down here. They go literally everywhere, right? You can almost cover the entire painting with these little things. Now, they do one of two things. They make it look like watery splash up along the top, and then they fill in areas that we didn't brush out, right? Like if we're sitting there looking at it going, you know what? I know I don't need to bring this all the way over to the edge with my brush because we're going to get out there and launch in enough little spray bits to almost cover the back area back there, right? That is so cool. Yeah! So, oh, man, that one came out neat. Excuse me, a little burpee. So, Pam, you got to come up with a title for this one, right? Everybody out there in the comments should be typing in what they think they should call, or we should call this painting, right? But Pam is the only one who gets to choose the final title because she grabbed it during the live show. Right? So, type in what you want to call this painting. Let us know now. And remember, we do have a very similar one that I did in class earlier yesterday. This one has the bushes and much further distant, less detailed waves, right? But it's got more of your detail up in the land. This one that we're talking about is number 2273. That's the number 2273. Every time you go to my site, it'll say, you know, painting number 2273, and then it'll say 16 by 20 inch cattail seascape painted on whatever date it was painted on, right? That's how we title paintings, is by number. And so if you go check out the originals collection by using that 3-line menu up there, then you'll see all the ones that we have available to come live with you. It's going to be fabulous. Literally. So come up with a title, and then Pam's going to choose her favorite or come up with one on her own. She has that option as well, right? But a lot of people find it difficult to name a painting because you got to, I mean, it's going to be named that forever. You know what I mean? And so by having so many people watch, we apparently, we're big in the poet community because lots of people have excellent, excellent titles. So much so that they seem like poets. So Pam gets to pick the title. I'm going to put the bird signature in. The old PaintWithJosh birds out here. And just go caw-caw. Launch them in. Bing, bang, boom. Ooh, there. It's always sketchy to go back to the first bird. You're like, no, don't mess it up. Come over here, throw in our little JK down there. Dude, I think this wave came out so fantastic. The reflection of the cloud in the thing here, the spray reflections of the bit, the backwash area, everything about this painting I love. I literally love it. It came out way, way, way too good. So what's Pam say over there, London? We don't have a title yet. Let's see. Only 3 birds. If you don't know, the birds are part of the signature. They're myself, my ex-wife London back here, and our daughter. And it's been that way forever, be that way forever. People recognize a PaintWithJosh painting based off the orientation of those 3 birds and that there is only 3 of them. They'll go, oh, look at that, it's a PaintWithJosh. Or if I don't do it, by the end of the show, people are like, hey, add the birds, add the birds, add the birds. You haven't added the birds yet. It's not that you haven't added the birds. So
All right, Pam, what do you think for a title on this guy? It came out way too good. Look at the rotation. And then it gets flatter and flatter. Just you can just feel it about to roll up and crash over. Looking really cool. Really cool. Let's see. And we get to do the Way of Water. That's kind of cool. Isn't that one of those Avatar movies? The Way of Water? It sounds very familiar. Waves of Water. That would be funny too. Crash Out. I like that. Wave of Serenity. That's cool too. You guys are literally poets with your titles, man. See all the broken bits in here? See how it's not all white? Get all those little bits of broken darkness in there that we just didn't cover. That's the best part about doing a seascape. You don't even have to paint everything. Or the goal is to not paint everything. That's the main goal for us. Dude, that came out so good. Point Break is a really cool title. I like that. But Reflections, that's cool too, right? You can see that reflecting cloud right there, can't you? I can. Very cool. Paint Break instead of Point Break. That's a cool title too. I like that. Incredible. Someone needs to mute him. Are we talking about me, or is somebody being mean in the comments?
Took away my fun. I came in on my account to troll someone rather than troll them from your account.
Oh.
And Christina muted her.
Christina Georgina. Let's see. All right, where's Pam? Because we need a title. Right, let's see where she's at. I haven't seen her yet. Been taken care of, Josh. I barely see any of the comments. So, like, when we are reading the comments, I'm really hoping you guys are, like, typing them in. Oh, there she is. So, Pam, what would you want to name your painting, right? You chose this one. It was unfinished by the time you grabbed it, and so now you get to title it forever. What would you want to call it? And we've had lots of people comment and give you suggestions about what it should be. So let us know. And it's going to be fabulous. Whatever you think. Literally, we had a person call it Tim one time. Rhythm of the Restless Shore. That's cool. That's a cool title. We got new comments, Lena. I can't see them. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know if Pam was in any of those. You want to call it Paradise? I like that. Just Paradise. Just. Well, I mean, not just, but Paradise. That's it. All right. Let's see. Who said that? Abby? No, but Abby said, oh, I said Paradise too. Yay. People get so excited when their titles get chosen. And you know what I mean? It's like a big thing for people. Like, oh man, they'll come over to my Facebook when I go post the finished picture, and they go to the Facebook page and they're like, oh, I was so excited that you chose my title tonight. Like, I've never got to name one of your paintings before, and it was so neat. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. I like that. You know what I mean? So I understand what Abby was talking about over there. Yeah. What was the title again? Paradise, and it's number 2277, right?
Yes.
2277, calling it Paradise. Pair of dice. Okay, I don't know why we went with, we're not paint. I mean, you know, this isn't like a casino or anything. It's, oh, you meant the other Paradise. Got it. Okay, painted on 2/7/2027, and we're all going to go to Paint with Josh, and then you got to put that. Boom. Yeah. That from who said that yesterday, by the way? Who said, what does PWJ stand for? Pasty White Josh? Yes, it was Josh T. I remember. I remember that. It was him. So yeah, then we had to go purchase that website, Paint with Josh. They're Pasty White Josh. So you can go to either, really. It'll all take you back to the same place. Let's see. Visions by Marks here. What's happening, everybody? Yeah, so this one came out amazing. What we're going to do now is called the light party. So we'll need to turn off the main lights. We'll need to turn off the spotlight that I just stared directly into. I don't suggest doing that. And I'm going to give you a light flash warning right now. So your screen is going to go crazy. London, can we hit the lights over there? Your screen's going to go wild and intensely crazy with flashing lights, right? So if you're sensitive to that, turn your phone away. Don't look for the next like 30 seconds. And I'll tell you audibly it's okay to look back when it is okay.
if you're going to stay for the light party, I would like you to type in the words "I'm ready," legally giving up all all liability against PaintWithJosh LLC. Type in the words "I'm ready," right, and then push send and shut your eyes. Right, I'm ready. Hit send. Shut your eyes. When you hear me say the words "light party," then open your eyes and tell me the very first thing that catches your eye. The very first thing. Okay. So when I see enough "I'm ready," is we're going to get it started in 3, 2. Oh, wait. Ooh, I hope you didn't open your eyes. You all should have closed eyes right now. 3, 2, 1. Light party! So, what stands out for you the most? What is it? The wave? The eye, maybe? Maybe it's the clouds? Maybe it's the backwash? Okay. I want everyone to type in the words backwash. That's why I just keep saying it. Maybe it's the fish-pish line right here. What stands out the most for you? Type it in. You got crashing, wave, the birds, the eye, the wave. I like it. Waves, wave, right? I like it. The birds. The birds always look like they're flapping in that flashing, didn't it? So we're going to bring it back down in 3, 2, 1. We're back to normal lighting conditions, but we're going to do one more thing, so don't go anywhere, okay? What we're going to do now is something called the RGB party, where we put solid red light onto the canvas, then solid green light, then solid blue light. There's no flashing, so you don't have to worry. You can turn back and look at this moment, right? All I need you to do is tell me which is your favorite, red, green, or blue, and you're going to see red in 3, 2, 1, red. Oh, it almost makes it disappear. That's how faint the paint is on the canvas, right? Gonna go green in 3, 2, 1, green. Isn't that so neat? Almost washes out the sky. All you can see is more land and water. God, it's so cool. Going blue in 3, 2, blue. Ooh. So which did you like the most? Out of the red, the green, or the blue? Type it in the comments now as we come back to normal lighting conditions. So you may now look back. Put this big old spotlight on me again just so we're bright. Right? So I hope you guys liked this one. Let me get the spinny winny wheel for Pam as well. Grab the old wheel of spinniness. Dude, we might even get out of here in under an hour. How about that? So, the spinny winny wheel has hit the fancy glass the last 2 times consecutively. So, this, if you don't know what it is the PaintWithJosh spinny winny wheel. I didn't come up with it. The fans named it just like plaque. That's not my fault either. But this is a gifting wheel that gives back a free gift to the purchaser of the live painting that we're doing that evening. And whatever it lands on is going to come back to her. And this is everyone's favorite part of the whole show, I think. Oh, you want a PaintWithJosh snapback hat. Excellent. Those are excellent. Seriously, I'm wearing one right now. I don't think I go anywhere without wearing my PaintWithJosh hat. So, I think you've won things before, and you should know how to redeem them. If not, let me tell you real quick. Go back to the website. Use the 3-line menu at the top. There's a contact us function. Send me an email. I'll send you back a code for the hat. You go back to the website, put the hat that you like into your cart, put the code in, becomes free, and then you just pay the, I think it's like $5, $6 shipping, whatever it is. Thank you so much for making the show better. I can't wait to see your guys' versions of this. I hope that by taking more time and doing more kind of detailed waves, it helps you improve, right? Remember that 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock? All the ones that are, in here are pretty vertical, and then they gotta get flatter, right? They have to. They can't just all go up at the same direction. So please send in your versions, because I can't wait to see what you guys do with my teaching abilities. Someone told me the other day, it was one of the comments that said, like, you're rare, talking about me, because you don't normally find someone who's a good artist and a good teacher at the same time, right? I'm very good at explaining what we're doing and why we're doing it. So if you're a brand new follower, you're going to have a great time and you're going to improve very quickly after following my videos. So find more of them on YouTube, and we can't wait to come back in about an hour. So until we see you guys again next time. Did I say the Facebook thing already? Send it into me, official PaintWithJosh on Facebook, or post it into any one of my comments sections. And trust me, there's a lot I post all the time. So until we see you guys again next time, take care. Have the rest of a good day. And blah, blah.
Well, that one came out amazing. I want to thank you guys for being here, liking, subscribing, tapping the screen, commenting, and interacting with me. It's all been fantastic. In the meantime, before we get to our next painting, be sure you check out PaintWithJosh.com because there's always something else to look at over there. So until I see you guys again next time, take care.